0, 1. Let's get started.
Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of the Black and White United Show. I'm your host Andreas. Thank you so much for tuning in with me today. I do apologise for the couple of days absence. I had a little bit of a medical emergency, but we are all good at the moment. So I just want to go through a couple of things over the course of this video, but just I want to touch on the VFL. We all know what happened. We all know that we beat Coburg. And just some of the guys in the twos, but also some of the guys in the seniors, I think might actually be swapping over fairly soon. I think there will be some ins and outs. Obviously, there will be now with Dan Houston, which I'm going to talk a little bit about that as well. Nothing too much, just some general updates for today. And then obviously later on in the week, we will have our live, we will do the preview for the gather round game, and also I'll do my live tomorrow for everybody after missing out last week. Yes, I got messages, I got complaints. Where are you? We need you, blah, blah, blah. I get it. We'll be back tomorrow for that. But let's get to today's video. Okay, so Charlie West kicks 5 goals. You've got players in our forward line in the seniors, right? And before I start this part of the video, I know there is a difference between VFL and AFL level. 100%, I'm fully aware. But if you are playing consistent and kicking goals in the twos, you've just knocked up 5 against Coburg in a game that was neck and neck. I watched the entire game. It was goal for goal, goal for goal, goal for goal. In the last quarter, I think Coburg got out to a 16-point lead. We then overtook them and won by 24 points. Charlie West kicks 5. Mason Cox kicks 3. Will Hayes plays amazing. Markov does great. Everyone just contributes. Hoskin Elliott played well. It was just an all-round grouse game of state footy to watch. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think there's going to be change. We know side issue, Dan Houston reported, gone for 2 weeks. There is going to be a massive push between Oleg Markov, Will Hoskin Elliott, potentially an Ed Allen, Mason Cox. There's no reason why he can't get back into the team. I know we've got too many tools and stuff like that, but he's playing good enough football to play in the seniors. And there was another one. And then like TJ and Jacob Ryan will be knocking down the doors to try and get this go while Dan Houston's gone for 2 weeks. In my personal humble opinion, I'm going to play the safe option in this one here. And I would say bring in Will Hoskin Elliott for Dan Houston. Play Hosky off the halfback line. A running halfback. He can do everything that Josh Dacos can do. He can run, blah, blah. I know his disposal can be a bit funny at times. But against a team like Sydney, and Hosky doesn't play that bad against Sydney. Like I genuinely think that it's time to just bring him back in, see what he can do for the next 2 weeks, and then obviously we know Dan Houston will just come straight back in the team for Anzac Day. That would be what I would do. But to have these guys playing in the twos and playing decent footy, Charlie West to be kicking 5 goals is knocking down the door to get a spot in this forward line. Now, realistically, do I think he's going to get a game this year? Before I answer that, I said at the start of the season when I first went to training, and I was there when Charlie West had his first training session with Cochrane and with Will Hayes, right? I went to that session. Charlie West did really well and surprising, like yeah, he dropped a mark here and there or whatever, but he looked good, okay? And I said after that, I genuinely think that he would be a chance to play this season. I got laughed at. I got told, no chance. You know, you got the big 3, Cox as well, this, that. He's not going to get a go. I'm telling you now, if there is an injury or a suspension or something happens and we lose one of the Triple M's, they are seriously, they'll probably go with Mason Cox because he's playing good footy, he has the experience, whatever. But there is no reason why Charlie West can't play in the seniors at some point this season. If we wanted to rest any players moving forward for a game against Richmond, and I'm not saying this in a cocky way or anything like that, but if we were to need to rest any senior players at any points of the season and we're in a good position on the ladder and we can afford that luxury, especially when we're coming up to playing against Richmond, even potentially Carlton towards whenever, bring this kid in. I implore the club, I implore people to give this kid a chance early on, because the way that he played and the way that he looks is unbelievable. I think we've got the steal of the draft in him. But again, I got laughed at when I said, he's playing, he looks good, this is that, he might get a game this year. All of a sudden he's dominating in the twos, and then there's whispers, oh man, he should be, bring him in. I know my shit. Anyway, moving on from that, the whole Dan Houston thing in particular, the isolated incident against Carlton when he hit, I think it was Fogarty, I can't remember. I just think it's so stupid. I think it's so unnecessary. I know it looks good. We gave a Carlton player a bump and they hated it. Yeah, whatever. But we're not 4 or 5 years ago. Like, he can't be doing that, because now, we've got 2 really important games. And I want to touch on the games too in a second. This is a good segue. But we've got 2 really important games that we have to get at least a result in one of them. So we've got Sydney, Brisbane, Essendon, Geelong. All right, they're our next 4 games. In my mind, I'm approaching it like this is the block of 4. We've had our first block of 4. We went 3-1. We've got our next block of 4, which is probably even harder, which I think it is harder, in Sydney, Brisbane, Essendon, and Geelong. If we're missing Dan Houston for the Sydney-Brisbane games, we desperately need him for both those games, okay? They're not at home. Regardless if the Gather Round game's our home game, it's not at home. How are we going to go against a team that's not from Adelaide there? To be honest, I'm not sure. I'm expecting more of a similar type of game to what it was against St Kilda back in 2023 Gather Round, not against Hawthorn last year where we held on by the skin of our nose. But regardless, we need Dan Houston for games like that. Now, moving on. Those 4 games, what do I think is going to happen? Now, this is not a preview to the Sydney game or anything like that, and I'll do that probably on Thursday. But the next 4 games, I believe we play our best football, and like a lot of Collingwood supporters would believe this as well. There's no reason why we can't win all 4 of them. Like, it's not like, if we get 1 or 2 out of the 4, no worries, and then we can go and play against Melbourne, North Melbourne, and whatever. Melbourne will lift against us on the Big Freeze games. North Melbourne will look at us and be like, nah, you're our grand final every year. We have to beat you. We haven't beat you in a few years now. And we're always close and you overrun us, blah, blah, blah. We did it 22, 23, I think we spanked them. And then 24, we shouldn't have won that game, right? So I'm just thinking to myself, what's a realistic outcome in the next 4 weeks for this club? 3 out of the 4. I want 4 out of 4, but 3 out of the 4 would set us up to go into the mid-season time leading into our bye, obviously after King's birthday or around there, that late May, early June time, would lead us in, we'd be top 4. We'd be top 4 barring percentage, because that Adelaide, GWS and Hawthorn will probably lose 1 game leading up to that mid part of the season. So we'd be anywhere between 3rd and 6th, but I'm hoping still top 4. If we can position ourselves there and then get the softer part of our fixture, right, and we're hitting form, we're playing well, there's no reason why we can't slingshot after that. Based on what I'm seeing, based on how everything is progressing. If we go 2-2 in the next 4, I will have the same opinion still. That's still a par, I would have thought. If we go anything less than 2-2 in the next 4 weeks, we're in trouble. And I would say that we're in trouble simply because apart from the Port Adelaide game, which is now 3.5, 4 weeks ago, I haven't seen anything that has wowed me. Does that make sense? I haven't seen anything that has made me think, oh my God, we're back to 2023 form. I haven't seen anything that's taken me that shocked me and been like, oh my God, this is great. It has with Charlie West and the twos, 100%. It has with Dan Houston and the way that he does his stuff. I like the dynamic of the forward line. I like the triple M's. Everyone's saying Membry had a shit game against Carlton. I thought, you know what Membry did against Carlton for the critics out there, for the non-Collingwood supporters and the Collingwood supporters? Membry got a defender who was Jacob Wiedering and dragged him out of the back line, which then allowed players like Myercheck and McStay to do their thing. Now, I know we didn't hit the scoreboard, and that's a different part of the game that we'll fix. But the fact is they're taking marks, they're creating contests, they're getting free kicks there, right? We're getting opportunities in front of goal, which is what you want. The next part is the goal kicking. Now, if we had to put those goals away or had more opportunities because we were putting those goals away, then the ball would just pepper our forward line even more. Tim Membry was dragging out Jacob Wiedering the whole game. He is so vital in the makeup of our forward line. It is so important, and it's so obvious when you see it, what he's doing. Now, he might have kicked 1 or 2 goals against Carlton, didn't really do too much there, but it's the off-the-ball stuff. He also got the ball, gave it to Bobby Hill, and Bobby Hill was the one, and then gave it to Elliott or whatever. They kicked it when Lachie Schultz ran in there for his goal. So Membry's had a part in that. Okay, but remember something, forward lines don't function with 3 big forwards all going for the same ball. You can't have that. They've got to be spreading. They've got to be, a tall forward might need to play a bit more of a medium forward role or a small forward role. Or one of those forwards goes out and then you've got a small forward who plays as a tall, like Jamie Elliott's done his entire bloody career, you know? So we need to just, I'm not going to criticise Membry. He has been at the club for only a few months and he has contributed a lot in that time, and you've got to watch what he does off the ball. Now, this is my last point. If you want to criticise anybody in our team, right, that they need to lift and we need to go that they need to go that extra mile or whatever, there's 2 players I will tell you straight out. And yes, they're both in the forward line. One, Bobby Hill. It's time to go now. Stop. You're not playing in the Indigenous All-Stars game, right, where you can turn it up every week. You're not playing in a practice game against Richmond at Icon Park where you can kick goals out of your ass and, you know, signal the crowd and have fun and whatever. This is business now. You've performed on the biggest day. But guess what? That was 2 years ago. Forget about it. We don't care anymore. Yeah, it was wonderful. I've got 2010 and 2023 posters on my wall. Fantastic. Awesome. But it's 2025 now. It's time to do it again. Forget what you've done in the past. Bobby Hill needs to go that extra level in his game. Right now, he's just a bang average small forward. Lachie Schultz has more value in this Collingwood team right now than Bobby Hill. All right? Now, do I think Lachie Schultz is better than Bobby Hill? No. But the way they're playing at the moment, you can't argue against it. Okay? So I would like to see him lift. That game against Carlton, even the game against the Dogs, he had that really good goal that Mason Cox did all the setup for. There's just these little things that he just needs to, like, you know what? It's time now. Go. Put the burners on. Be selfish. Stop being so unselfish, team. Be selfish. But when you get the opportunity and you take a really good mark, or we've done this grouse play, like that one where McStay hit it over his head, got it over, and he's taken the mark on the forward line, go back and drill them. Go back and drill these goals. I said it in my review for the Carlton game. They're the goals that you got to kick. None of this bullshit Lairising stuff or whatever. We get those goals, we can bury sides. That was the perfect opportunity. Bobby's the man to do that. I have faith he'll do that, but it's time now to go. Because these next 4 weeks, you can't save it for the big occasions. And that Carlton game was a big occasion, and you just didn't perform. You just didn't light it up as you're supposed to, right? The next one, before I finish this video, because now it's becoming a rant again, and we should be happy because we're not in the position of other clubs, but I've just got such high expectations, and I just think that our percentage should be up. We should be... Anyway, Bo McCreary. Off the ball, you are a genius. Off the ball, you crash, bash, push your opponent out of the way, create space for everybody else. Your tackling pressure is immense. Your presence is needed. But for the love of God, get the ball, bro. It's time to get the ball. It is time to impact the scoreboard. It is time, don't even impact the scoreboard off your own boot. It's time for some direct goal assists. It's time to crunch, get the ball, deliver it into the forward line. It's time, oh shit, they've got the ball, they're running. I want to see tackles, second, third efforts. We need to see more of it, because when you get it, when Bo McCreary gets the ball, it's always a good passage of play. Why haven't we seen enough of it? I can put Isaac Quainer into that conversation as well, but I'm not, because I sound too fussy. And people will be like, calm down. You're sitting sixth on the ladder or whatever it is. You've only lost one game, blah, blah, blah. There are players that are waiting to smash the door, that are smashing the door down to get into this team. And we have premiership stars who I feel are a little bit content in the team at the moment. There are premiership stars and fringe players in the twos that are ready to come in. I want to see the players that are in the side look like they want to be there more than what they do at the moment. I'm sick of seeing Josh Dacos and Nick Dacos do it all, right? Even Dan Houston, even though he's a bit happy throwing elbows and stuff and doing chicken wings on players and stuff like that. I want to just see a bit more enthusiasm, and I want to see a bit more of a desire to bury a team. I know deep down that they want to. Everyone knows they want to deep down. But it's just time that we take it that next level, and I want to see that against Sydney. I would rather see us lose any of these next 4 games, but daring to be more open and impactful when it matters the most. But having said that, we're still in a decent position. But Bobby Hill and Bo McCreary, in my eyes, like I did when I did the player spotlights before the season, you're in my spotlight right now. I want to see you two go the next level, because you guys playing at your best football, we are unstoppable. We are unstoppable when you've got players like Bo McCreary and Bobby Hill playing at their best. Now, is it sustainable for 27, 28 weeks of the season? No, I understand people have down periods, but not this early. We've got a lift now. We've got probably the hardest month of football ahead of us for the season. I'm not taking Essendon lightly either. We know they come out as world beaters on Anzac Day. We know Anzac Day, all of a sudden, they become amazing. Even their own supporters are shocked at how good they play sometimes. And then obviously Geelong is always a battle. Jeremy Cameron is Wayne Carey against us. So it is what it is. I'll leave it there. That's my little rant. General updates, general what I think moving into this week. There'll be a live tomorrow night. There will be a preview on Thursday for the City game for Gather Round. Tell me what you think. Make sure you leave a comment. Remember to call it as you see it. And as always, go the Pies.